What's up, Capstone family? This is Ed with Capstone Realty coming at you on this Friday, the 20th of May. Another interesting week in real estate here in the Phoenix area. All kinds of wild stuff happening and just looking at numbers and trends and seeing what's happening. And honestly, I've had a lot of weird conversations this week. I'm a firm believer in what the market's doing. I look at data regularly. I'm a fan of, interpreting the data the best way possible. I feel like, for the most part, I've stayed ahead of it. I've stayed ahead of what's happening in the market. And, I've been in this space long enough now to see, trends and things that are emerging. I definitely do not have a crystal ball. However, I look at the data, right? And the data is what helps make decisions. I do not think, I'll start by saying this, I do not think that we are, any sort of recession will lead to the destruction of our real estate portfolios. I do think that, of course, we're slipping into a little bit of a recession that's needed to combat inflation. However, if you look back through history, I think there's been since 1980, I think there were 8 different recessions. Those that were associated or that real estate was negatively impacted were only 2 of them. And of those 2, one was the Great Recession, and that was probably all related to real estate, right? So I think, at the end of the day, here in Arizona, there's such a crazy demand for houses. The last couple of weeks have shown us that, people are concerned with the market. We've seen a huge increase in listings for sale. And this is the time of year that we should start seeing properties, moving quicker. This is when we start seeing more houses listed on the market, of course, because this is the busy season. This is when people are buying. But the struggle is everybody got just kicked in the teeth from the interest rates increasing so fast. So now you got these buyers for the last 3 weeks have been on the sidelines, and all the data that I look at, I think one of the hardest things to determine, looking at this particular data, is what is the demand really, right? When I think of demand, there's no way for us to really determine how many people are looking at any given time, unless it's looking at, from the lender's perspective, what are new loan starts looking like? How many people are applying for loans? Maybe that's a good indicator. Well, I've known personally that, this last week was busier in new loan starts than the previous 2 weeks. The previous 2 weeks were looking pretty dang grim. It was one of those where it seemed like everyone sidelined it for a minute. I think this year is a very interesting year for real estate agents. I think it's a very interesting year for mortgage lenders. But for you that own real estate, this is definitely a defining year. Whether you stay in it or you decide to pull out, I think is very interesting. Again, I'm not the doom and gloom person who thinks that the sky is going to fall. I saw the sky fall before, right? I saw that market and I saw what that felt like, and I felt it. This is nothing like that. We're nowhere even close to that. This is just one of those corrections, these hiccups, where we need to figure out the market a little bit, and honestly figure out how we're going to get some more houses out there. Well, cool. Sorry to go on that rant. I've spoken to some people this week that have not been clients, but others in the industry that I think very highly of, that have a different opinion, but are basing an opinion on a lot of feelings, a lot of it's a very emotional time, right? But the data supports a very specific narrative right now, and looking at the data and trending it and watching it, I think helps in sometimes in maintaining our sanity, right? For me, it helps me in looking at this and going, all right, I have no control over what's happening here, but what we do have control over is what's happening here. We do have some great programs that we're going to be rolling out here real soon. We're doing our best to stay ahead of the market. I see a need. We've felt a need for tenants and helping tenants in a different way and building up our tenant pool and making the tenants that are occupying your property better than any others out there, right? And I think that's done through education. It's done through, really just, listening and making sure that when we're putting people in your properties, that we're really able to not only find the best tenants for your property, but also give them something that they can leave with when they depart, right? Not necessarily a parting gift, but at least not more knowledge leaving than they came with going in. There's such a horrible stigma when it comes to what property managers are supposed to do and who we are behind the scenes and how we steal people's money and and all of these things. And it's really not the case for a lot of us, or at least most of the ones that I know. It's just very transparent and real and raw, right? Lots of bad news. We're not giving good news. We're not giving out, like I mentioned, parting gifts. We could probably be doing a better job at that. But it's changing that narrative and leaving that tenant with a better experience than they expected, right? I think coming into it, most tenants just think we're going to be the worst anyway, right? So it's not that hard to overcome that piece. But I think more than that, the education, getting people to buy, I'm a firm believer that people should be buying real estate. I don't have a pension, right? Capstone is a great company, don't get me wrong, but there's no pension plan right now. So I've got to work for it. I've got to invest. I've got to get this team investing. I got to get them buying real estate. I got to get them to really understand the value, not only in purchasing their first, their second, their third, but more doors and being able to speak to that as well. That's my goal. That's what we want to be building here. That's what we want these, our team to be able to share with others, and to have tenants that can understand that and that can at some point be prepared to purchase a house. Puts us back in control of when they're leaving, what that exit looks like, so we can control your asset, ensuring that we know that the property is going to be left in better shape, which our tenants leave them in significantly better shape than other companies, which we're finding. A lot of things we're sharing now, going and talking to other companies, we're seeing where our real strengths are, and we're doing our best to embrace them as this market shifts. Hope this was helpful for you. I think the things that we're seeing right now in the market, the biggest stat, if you're looking at that stats page, the biggest one that stands out to me is the number of price changes per week. Where this is going to affect you is if you're selling right now, the people who don't want to be stuck on the hook for this again are the appraisers, right? And as they're looking at this number right here, the number of price changes per week on the MLS, that's how many properties are being increased or decreased on the MLS every week, right? It is at a higher value than it has been since May 17th of 2020. That was the last time we saw as many price shifts. That was the beginning of COVID. So again, it was a little scary at that time. Things were a little worrisome. That's kind of what we're seeing right now in the market. We're seeing a lot of people maybe overpricing their properties and realizing, oh shoot, we better flip and drop that price to a much more reasonable number. Sellers are realizing that they have to price them a little more reasonably in order to get them moved. There's still a crazy demand out there for houses. There's still a crazy amount of people buying, and not a lot of supply, but things are shifting a little bit. I'll keep you up to date with those numbers. I hope this information helps. Please subscribe if you haven't already. You'll get these sent to your inbox so that you have them and you don't have to get those emails from me that can sometimes be challenging to open. But I do appreciate you. I hope you have an amazing weekend. Capstone's having a party this weekend. The team is super excited about it. We've got our annual pizza party cook-off where we have a competition and see who makes the best pie. I'll let you know who wins next week. There will be prizes. So somebody's going to be gloating. We'll see who it is. Cool. Thanks.